Whoops. Always click to get rid of the image screen. Start broadcasting. Okay. Everybody, it is time for some WhoDooTV. We're going to talk about new comic books today. Today is August 14th. We're going to be talking about new comic books for August 15th. We're going to talk about new. And always put your computer on mute. That way you don't get the reverb like I just did. But thanks everybody for jumping on. My name is Hoosier. I have one normal guest host on board with me, and that is the Moose. Thanks for jumping on, Moose.
Oh, I thought that was funnier than probably should have been, but I just had a good chuckle out of that. How y'all doing?
Oh man! And then we have our inker extraordinaire and many more things than that, Ryan Winn. Thanks for jumping on, man.
Hey, thanks for having me, guys.
Always love having you on and enjoy it when you can come on, man. I appreciate taking time out of your busy schedule.
Well, yeah, I'm very busy, but I am delightful. So it's lucky for you guys that I was able to. No, I'm just kidding. No, it's always fun to talk to you guys, and we didn't plan it. It just happened today, and I didn't know if I'd be able to make it, and it worked out that I could. So that's great.
Yeah. And one thing, I mean, we were chatting on Twitter today, back and forth, and Alternate Comics fan Anthony is on the live chat, and we were talking a lot of that stuff, and we're going to get more into that conversation later, which was kind of fun. So make sure you guys are following Ryan on Twitter. But yeah, I want to start off this with some sad news. It's always good to start with sad news, and that is Jim the Anvil Neidhart. WW had passed away yesterday. And this is sad. His goatee always inspired me. I love the way the guy tug on it. And then just the Hart Foundation. Almost all of them are dead except for Bret Hart, man. So, Chris, I know you were back in the old school wrestling days. You enjoyed that stuff. So, man.
Yeah, this is a sad moment. He was fun. He was never one of the front men. I mean, Bret was the big man in that tandem that you put there. Bret the Hitman Hart was the man. But still, when you start losing people like that, that's a tough take. And wrestling is a hard life. There's no two bones about it. You never do quite make enough money. I think Bret Hart has made enough money. He's been very savvy in his investments. But unfortunately for a lot of wrestlers, there's a lot of extracurriculars that get involved, drinking and drugs and some of the other things. And unfortunately, sometimes they wrestle way past their prime. They get injured too much. Bad things happen. And this is one of those. I don't know how he died. I don't know why he died, but he died young.
Yeah, very, very young. So I know that the old 80s, I mean, a couple of the shows we've been entering with like Macho Man theme songs and Hulk Hogan theme songs. You know what I mean? So, I haven't followed wrestling in a long time, but back in the day with these guys is when I did. So, it's kind of that connection of the childhood that kind of hits. So. Well, and then I'm going to totally change bases on us, guys, and totally change the mood. Sorry about that, people. But we got two birthday guys on the Ryan Winn and both Chris. And it looks like Batman made you a cake. Oh, wait, no, it was Alfred. So happy birthday, guys. Definitely happy to have you guys and celebrate you guys.
Happy birthday, Chris. I didn't know it was what day was your birthday?
The 13th.
13th. All right, I was the 11th. Right on. Woo.
Awesome. And then, one thing I wanted to show everybody, and it's been pretty remarkable the last couple Red Hood and the Outlaws that have had some Trevor Hairsine and Ryan Winn art to it. And man, just some of these inks and just the penciling, you guys have knocked it out of the park recently.
Yeah, Trevor is constantly getting better. Even though when he came into the industry, he was already just top notch. I probably wouldn't have thought, 5 years ago, I probably would have thought, he's probably peaking, and I don't mean that in a bad way, but he's found where what works good, and he'll probably stick with that, and he just keeps pushing his storytelling. Like the double pager you're showing now, that's like a 15-second fight scene on Arrow or on a WB show. It's like whack that, boom, thwack, do. And Trevor does it in 5 panels in big, beautiful, easy-to-read shots. You don't even need the sound effects from the lettering or anything, which, I mean, they're great when they're there, but Trevor just delivers as a comic book artist.
Yeah, you definitely see those there. And it's, I mean, just the pairing of you guys has always been great. I love just, your lines have always been amazing, not just because you're on, here's why I'm saying it. But it's awesome. And one thing I've always noticed about Trevor, or starting to know more about Trevor, is he loves to add rain in the scenes. I'm thinking of Ninja K #1 cover that he did, rain in the scenes. And I felt like, for some reason, in some of the Divinity, I remember seeing rain.
Yeah, early on it started off with rain, and then I think there were a few scenes. No, I think I'm misremembering in Divinity 2, but in the I know for sure in Divinity 1, the first issue, he's jogging through the rain. It's always raining in Russia. It's very, very moody. And he's one of those people, he's very cinematic, so he'll pull in rain, not just to fill in space, but he wants you to have that dismal feel of that, that.
Yeah, that takes me back to his art when I think it was Divinity 2, when Mishka travels back to kill Abrams, and it's all snowy and cold. You feel that cold from the art that he's put out there. They don't even have to tell you that it's freezing cold. You got snow, it's cold, you feel it. And you're right, you can feel, I haven't that story yet, haven't caught up, but you can feel that rain. You can feel the cold and that feel of doom.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and he's
storytelling.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, I was gonna say it's definitely great storytelling and cinematography, and like setting like a like almost cinematography in a way.
Oh yeah, that's Trevor is when he, well, I guess he's still at Valiant. Whenever he does a Valiant character, I always feel like we're getting the movie version. Like that's what it feels like. It's like, oh, Trevor's version. It's like the live action version. I always feel like that kind of excitement for seeing his versions of characters. I used to feel that way about Adam Hughes when I was young, and Adam Hughes was new doing Justice League. It was like every time he got put on something new, you're like, ooh, what's his version gonna look like? It's gonna look so cool. So.
And how did you and Trevor actually connect? How did you become his inker?
This was one of those just lucky it worked out things. Valiant started talking to me, and I had kind of left comics for a while, or mainstream comics a few years back. Before I probably spent 1.5 years, 2 years after I left DC doing more independent stuff and things with toy makers and film designers, things like that. And then I started talking to Valiant, and I really wanted to work with Trevor, and I knew they had Trevor, and I knew they were having trouble with him inking himself and staying on schedule, and him being happy with the work and stuff like that. And he hadn't really liked a lot of the inkers. I guess he just had trouble with consistently finding an inker that could handle him and the schedule. And David Barron and I had been talking about oh man, I want to ink Trevor. He wanted me to ink Trevor, and he wanted to color Trevor. And so I just got in with Valiant, and my first stuff was Quantum and Woody, Q2, the Return of Quantum and Woody and stuff. And then I started getting the tryouts for Trevor. So it was sort of like, all right, I'm gonna come back to comics and hope that this somehow leads to working with Trevor again. And then it kind of the hard work and the persistence and the luck. My stories always involve a big amount of luck. So that just happened to work out. And it was one of the goals I'd had in comics for years. I had been Danny Mickey's assistant when he was inking Trevor over at Marvel. And I became such a big Trevor fan immediately. And he was somebody I always wanted to do some projects with. And once he saw my samples, he was like, all right, you're the man. I'm like, woo, all right, let's do this. So
he pretty much, now he doesn't go anywhere without you, right? He pretty much requests you most of the time, right?
Yeah, if I'm available, I wasn't available to do EXO, so they got somebody else. But yeah, I think we're going to be doing more stuff at DC, but nothing's been solidified yet. He's he takes his time on his issues, so no one's rushing him on EXO. But yeah, I hope to have something to announce with him again real soon. He's my favorite pencil I've ever worked on, and not just because he's not going to see this, so that's not even really kissing his butt. It's just the truth. So, and I don't mean that against you guys. I mean, he doesn't go online. He just does, like,
No.
yeah. He's avoiding that. And then I guess, we're going to stick to that Red Hood piece. And it looks like Alternate Comic Fan Anthony says he likes the direction that Red Hood's going. So, and then that, I guess, since you've inked him for a couple issues now, and I wanted to get your thoughts on the new design, what they have up for Jason Todd, and his new little logo, his emblem on his chest, and his new little outfit that's on his way. I'll let you guys go and talk about it first.
First
Coming
off,
from where?
What's up to AJ? What's up, AJ?
Oh, AJ, thanks for jumping on.
You want to go first, Chris?
All I was going to say is that symbol looks very Batman-ish. I mean, it's hard to, when you're thinking about this, it's hard to think not that it doesn't look like Batman. But I like it. It could be the mask that he wears to a portion. I guess if you look in the top right-hand corner there, the mask and then the eye mask piece, it's similar enough, but then again, it could be a little Batman-esque.
Can we get it? Hooser, can you set it so that while we're talking, it stays on screen?
Yeah, let's do that. Should be right there.
Not that Chris isn't beautiful. I love looking at that mug of his, but I just wanted to be able to see it when I'm talking. Yeah, it's a good design. There's nothing actually like wrong with the design. I would, if you showed that to me, I would say, "Who is this?" I wouldn't say, "Oh, is that a new Red Hood design?" I would say, "Oh, who's this?"
Agreed.
It looks a little. To me, I don't play video games, so sometimes I look at things and I say that looks like a video game, not a comic book. And I don't mean that in a bad way. Again, there's nothing wrong with the design. The design is beautiful. I like fashion, and I like the way things are seamed and sewn together. And this jacket, the vest is cool. The hood is cool. I like Chris's idea that chest piece, his symbol, like that'd be a badass mask. Like, yeah, that would be a really cool mask.
Yeah, when you said video games, I kind of took a second look at it, and it kind of feels a new age Assassin's Creed type of look.
Yeah, that's
what we're going with.
Yep. That game I know enough about. I've seen enough that I'm like, yeah, no, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, it is a cool design. I have a feeling it's one of those things they'll do for 4 issues, 6 issues, maybe get a trade out of it, and then bring back the mask, the red mask. The crowbar, man, that's like the crowbar makes me feel like if Batman ran around with pearl necklaces on. You're like, oh, there's this super depressing thing from my life. I'm gonna like carry it always.
The thing that I like the way Red Hood looks right now, right? Like when you guys were doing it. However, at times I've heard people get confused with Deathstroke just because of the way the mask is that full covered mask. So I have heard people get confused of that. This costume, it like you said, it does look like a great character. It's well done. I like it. Like you said, there's nothing wrong with that at all. The thing that makes me kind of, in a way, chuckle, especially considering having you on as well, is it looks like he's got the Death Betty heart on his emblem with the vest on. And then he also looks like Arsenal with that hood as well.
Yep, you're right.
Even I know he's going to be teaming up with Arsenal in one of the upcoming books. But that's kind of the thing is, the emblem's cool, but it looks like he's got a big red heart on his chest. And he reminds me of Arsenal a little bit, especially with being a red hood, and that's what Arsenal kind of looks like. But I do like it. I do think it looks cool. I do like the way he looks without the hood, actually. You look at the little mouthpiece with his thing around his eyes. It's pretty cool. But yeah, I'm curious to see how long this lasts, if it sticks. You know, if we go in multiple issues down the road later, if it is what it is.
Yeah, I could see them doing this just for a build up to something, you know, like like you said, teaming up with Arsenal, like, oh, we're the Hood Gang now, or say, you know, the Red Hoods, or something like that. And then maybe he goes back after, or maybe this sticks. Who knows?
Yep. Yeah, I mean, I think he's in a good place. You know, as a character right now, definitely his stride too. So it's interesting to kind of make this change right when he's in the middle of it. But I'm for it. So.
And I think it's kind of cool that it's one of the characters, or it's one of the rare characters that the writer that sort of has really forged his voice is still forging his story. You know, Scott Lobdell's been working on him for a long time now, and I think that's pretty cool. You don't get that a lot these days. You get people jumping on for an arc or two, and, you know, maybe a couple years, this or that. So I think he's like the Red Hood's Chris Claremont almost.
Right. Yeah, I do think he's been doing like I say, a knockout job on it. So, and then kind of an abrupt change as well. And we can get into this. This part can be fun for some people. I know some people enjoy this. Some people could care less. So if you care less, sorry. It is the Diamond sales numbers have came out, and it breaks down basically what publishers have been selling, their stocks, their shares. I know we cover a lot of Valiant here, and so I think it's interesting to see Valiant at 0.66 market shares for units and 0.0 for dollars. So it's kind of, you know, seeing that the bulk is still going to be with Marvel and DC, and then Image behind them, and then so yeah, I mean I think part of that's due to the lack there of books, only having 6-7 books a month. And then then I got another page here to show you guys as well, where it breaks down some of the where Valiant hits with the books. And EXO was the #1 book at 189, with 8,417 units sold. So it's kind of sliding a little bit. So it looks about 300 units dropped month from issue 16 to number 17. So a little bit of change happening. Kind of curious to see what some of these new launches that are around the corner are going to come up to. So
I think that Valiant. Well, one, we have to realize that Diamond and their numbers are not end all be alls. It's only what is distributed from Diamond that really counts. All the pre-order edition stuff, which I don't get any regular covers, I only get pre-order stuff. None of that stuff counts, and so you almost have to think that maybe you get a 25% increase, maybe depending on the book. I would imagine like EXO, maybe closer to 30%. And if you look at that on top of what's been published, I think you see a stronger Valiant. Not quite as strong as what we might have been about a year ago. I think we were really at about the first year of EXO, when we're getting ready to go into Eternity. I really thought you saw a larger market share if you were to combine all the numbers. And of course, we don't know those numbers, but we can only guesstimate, if you will. But I would think, to me, my feel is that was probably the strongest. Of course, there's been some changes and things of that nature, but I still think those numbers, although hidden, are still relatively strong. There's a lot of people to get those pre-ordered.
Yeah.
And I think people are being wary. You know, a lot of Valiant fans are even being wary right now, like longtime loyal Valiant fans. I think they're waiting to see. I'd like to think, and I know that most of them aren't really like dipping out on books or anything, but you know, that's everyone's been a little shaken, you know, with the change ups. I think people are just waiting to see, like, are they actually going to stick around and stick it out, you know?
Yeah, I think that's been part of it as well, and in a big push with digital books as well. And that's something that's not presented well. You're hearing about, the comic book stores are kind of hurting, and you're hearing about the, and that's not all of them. That's some of them. But yeah, the digital comics is definitely changing it up quite a bit with Comixology, with a number of different sort. I know Dan Didio recently had talked about how that there's a fatigue. It's just too much saturation, which is interesting coming from DC with as many as they produce. So, but I think a lot of their talk was other publishers. Basically, other publishers publishing, which is not going to happen. But yeah, it is weird when you get all the business side of it, how that necessarily folds. But you go to a Comic-Con and it doesn't seem like we're hurting too bad as an industry. So Comic-Cons have looked pretty hand.
Yeah, but that's a tough way to gauge things.
Right.
A lot of companies go in and they're just focused. Their focus group is the Comic-Con, and that's not necessarily always the people that are shopping at the comic shop. And I don't know. It's tough to gauge it that way. I'm not arguing with you by any means. I'm just saying, like, it's a tough way to gauge it for these companies. They keep losing all this stuff, but the cons, I mean, I just went to San Diego, and yeah, it was huge, but it was all the pop culture side of it,
Right. It's okay to argue. I can be wrong. It's always okay to argue.
Oh, no, but I really wasn't even trying to argue. I was just saying that, like, I just think it's a tough way, and then I realized that sounds like I'm being, like, a downer, too.
Oh, no. And that's the one thing that, Chris and I recently went to the Ace Comic-Con here in Seattle, and we kind of noticed that side of it as well. That itself is huge pop, right? It's like, this is not a Comic-Con, this is a pop culture con. And it's all, Marvel and CW, and, it was a lot about that side of it, more so than it was creators and the actual books themselves.
Comic-Con was all TV shows.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was huge.
Like, and I'm not even complaining about that. It was just I hadn't been in a couple years, and it was huge a few years ago. But this time you could go, like, all over the place and not really see any reference to comic books or anything. It was just TV shows. Like, even Conan was like a big thing going on there that week. Stuff like that. It was fun though.
Yeah.
I had a blast.
Well, I've always wanted to go to San Diego for that, and so that's got to be a bucket list thing in the next couple years. So
I agree. Yeah, absolutely.
Have you both never been?
Never been.
Mm.
Oh, okay. You got to come next year.
Yeah, we got to get there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That'd be awesome, you guys.
Road trip.
I'll have a little flag and be your.
That's right.
All right, we're gonna go down to Artist Alley now. Just stick together. Everybody, buddy up. Go.
All holding a rope so we all staying in line.
Because I know you've done conventions, but if you've never done San Diego, oh man, it's a beat.
I mean, I guess everybody says it, and I think we're kind of spoiled at Emerald City up here in the Pacific. It's one of the last great actual comic cons, big ones that's really stuck to that comic side of it. And I recently read an interview with the manager of that one through Reed Pop, and she said that that's been a focus of theirs even since going from Reed Pop, that they stick to that comic, basically that as their thread and their lifeblood to what they're doing. So I hope they continue that. Yeah,
if they can make it work, that's awesome. I need to get back up to that show. I haven't done that since 2010.
Road trip.
Yeah.
Yeah. We could be your tour guides.
Yeah.
And then there's the Space Needle. So what we got here is we chatted a little bit online. I know I said I was going to talk about it, about some books that we've been reading, and we got a big conversation about Alterna Comics.
That's right.
So they you posted the challenge of reading 3 Alterna comic books. So that is my next gig, is to do that. I know Alterna comic fan Anthony is giving me some selections, some anthologies that you threw out there. And so that has been awesome. So tell a little bit about Alterna Comics for us, Ryan.
Yeah, Alterna's been around for a while. Maybe you guys have heard of the If anthology that they do. I think they do it annually. And that was mostly where I knew them. And like there were a few other titles. I think like Mother Russia came out digitally a couple years back, and I read that, and I'd read The Chair and things like that. And they were all really well done. And just I read a lot of indie books. So they were just another like, hey, this is another like top shelf indie book. All right, cool. And, you know, I didn't really think that much about it and didn't really ever focus on the company much. And then last year, they launched their newsprint line, and that got my attention immediately. I really, not only even for a nostalgia reason, but I really like the way newsprint reads and the pages feel and turn. There's something about that. I never really liked magazine feel, and the more comics feel like magazines to me, I don't really enjoy the experience. Which is why I was fine switching over to digital too, because I actually really like the digital experience. But anyways, Alterna found this sort of niche market of doing independent creator-owned books on newsprint and publishing them for $1.50, and it's sort of like I don't know. I kind of think about it like if Image Comics and Vertigo Comics had kind of forged as one thing, in a sense. But he's got a range of titles. He's got kids books, all ages, teen, horror, all sorts of genres, and everything's categorized really well. And it's again, like Image, it's all creator owned. So the creators, any money that's made really goes back to the creators and stuff. And he hires, or I shouldn't say he hires, but he publishes great talent, and great talent that's great with the fans. Everyone I've interacted with online as a pro or a fan, or the interactions I've seen them, they're pumping their books. They're having fun making the stuff and pushing it. And Peter's having fun pushing their products. And yeah, he had a huge burst in sales and readership in the last couple of years. And they're a company to watch out for.
Yeah, I read The Righteous and the Wicked, and I love that story. A great coming of age story. I really, really dug that. And then just because it was so darn cheap, I rolled the dice on it. I think it's called The Seven.
Okay.
Yeah, I rolled the dice on that. And I'm like, you know what? For $1.50, this is not half bad. This is entertainment. So yeah. I've got 2 down. I got to pick out a third one.
Awesome. I haven't read The Seven yet. It's on my list. I haven't been to the shop in like a week and a half. I need to get in there because I think now I pretty much have all their books on my list. As the collector in me kind of now wants to, since they've only been doing it for a year, I'm like, oh, okay, well, I at least want the first 2 years complete or something like that, you know, if not beyond. But yeah, so that's my little take on Alterna. I'm so glad you guys have tried them out. That's great. It's exciting.
Yeah, I know. And you said Peter, right? Yeah, that he actually has reached out, and he's an awesome, easy to talk to guy. From what we have, communicated with him. We had friends that were at San Diego Comic-Con. They've done a couple Kickstarter comics, and they were their table was right across from Alterna Comics, okay. And they said that they just loved the guys. That they were, everybody there is some of the most friendliest people in comics, which is awesome. Which every comics is the best industry for people anyway. It's pretty cool. But one thing I got was Patrick Mulholland sent Zero Jumper, and that's one that I'm planning on doing a review of. Yeah, I like the concept. I love the newspaper print, which is that nostalgia coming back, and I'm all for it. So and anthology, what, $2? So I mean, yeah, that's just amazing.
Yeah, you can't go wrong. And they have not only do they have a range of genres, but I actually like that they have a range of talent. So they have some people that it's like, oh, this is like a first comic that they've done or first thing they've had published. And then they've got super experienced pros that have been around for a while producing stuff. So I like that he takes some chances with people, gives them opportunities, but then he's also bringing in these like really good, guys and kind of has this meld of stuff. Because I like to watch people grow too. It's kind of fun to see somebody's very first miniseries and then see them the next time and they've stepped up. And you're like, all right, cool. And then see them the next time and things like that. And then it's also fun just to pick up a book by a pro that's been doing it for years and just can knock it out of the park, no problem.
Dude, that's awesome. I think it's cool to come in and kind of change the game, or I guess not change it, but go back to it, which is kind of changing the game.
You're in trouble like 2 words into that sentence.
Yeah. Going back to the roots. I love it with the company that was going to go back to the roots. Go back to where it all started. And that's kind of what Alternate Comic fan Anthony AJ says. I'm just not going to lie. He never read an Alternate Comic until it came out with the $1.50 newsprint, and now he's getting them all. So that made it for him. So that's pretty awesome. It's a poor guy's dream come true. Yes, it is. With that price right there, awesome, man. Anything else you've been reading, or you guys open floor on what you've been reading? What's been coming out? Outside, I know both fanatics.
What's that?
I said I know both you and Chris are Walking Dead fanatics. Each issue.
Oh yeah.
You gotta have it. Gotta read it.
Yeah. I don't even know if I like it anymore. I was telling my friend this. I'm like, I said I like it. I don't know if it's good or not. Like, I don't operate at a level with it where it's good or bad. I'm living that life with these people now, and that's just how it is. Just like, so my friend was like, but you gotta like it, right? I was like, I don't know if I do. I'm just along for the adventure, man.
Yeah, for me, it's like being a housewife and you tune into General Hospital every day at that exact same time. To me, it's that little addiction. I got to find out what's going on. You're right. I don't know if it's good or not. I like to think that it is. I like to think that what I'm reading is good material, but no lie. There's things going on in the background of my house, and I'm sucked in to find out every little nuance. And it's great because there's a bunch of little story blocks, and so it really keeps things moving. Not a ton of depth in art, but when they do show all the art, there's some fantastic, fantastic stuff. But yeah, I'm just oblivious to what's going on around me because I'm just sucked into that world, and I want to. Oddly enough, I want to be there. I want to be able to look around and see everything in that world.
I totally agree.
That's, I've always said Kirkman is great at characters. That's like, what I mean? What I feel like he does is really peeling apart layers of characters and making you like them. So you're stuck with the character, and it's not necessarily the story you're paying attention to. It's that connection with the character that's drawing you out. So I think that's why it's gone over many 100 issues, something that it's on right now, that it's, killer. So, and speaking of killer, that's one I called back was Die, Die, Die. That was a killer first issue.
Oh, you're right. I totally forgot I even read that. I haven't talked to anyone about that. It was so good.
Die, Die was fantastic.
Oh, yeah. And number 2 is like next week, I believe. So,
do you guys want to hate me for something? So,
please.
I was at the Comic-Con,
and I already hate you.
Okay, cool. So, prepare for more. So I had read it, got it that week or whatever, and I didn't know they were going to have figures out at the convention, I hadn't read it. I read it the day after I got home from the convention. That's what happened. Something like that. But anyways, I saw the figures, and they looked cool, but they didn't mean anything because I hadn't read the comic yet. So I moved along. And as soon as I read the comic, I was like, douche, 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 douche. I don't even collect figures really. Like every once in a while I get something, but it was a little Burnham Die, Die, Die figures. Like, they were so cool. I can't believe I didn't get them.
Oh man. Yeah, Phil. But yeah, I'm glad you read it. I think it's cool the way they launched it. I thought that was awesome.
Totally by surprise. Totally caught everybody off guard. It was a brilliant move.
Yeah,
I accidentally got like 3 of them. It helps that they all say something different.
That was probably smart. I should learn by now to buy more than one of, certain books. I used to do it all the time. When I worked at a comic shop in high school, it was basically 2 of everything. Anything I bought was just 2, just automatically. I bought so many bad indie books that aren't worth anything. I have 2 copies of each now.
It's gonna be though. It's gonna be.
The thrift store returned the box to me when I tried to give them away. I'm like, here you go. They're like, no, we don't want those.
Yep. And then the other, hate to admit it, that you actually mentioned online was the Paper Girls. That is one of the ongoings for you.
Yeah.
Brian K. Vaughan. I mean, I'm not surprised, Brian K. Vaughan. So, I mean, great writer. What he's done with Saga. I mean, that's everybody's got on that. So, and then of course, BPRD as well. Good call outs there. Chris, you never answered that. What were your 3 books? And that's for everybody on chat too. If you're on chat, put that in the live chat. If you are watching this afterwards, let us know. If you only could get 3 books a month, what 3 books would those be?
Well, first and foremost, whenever it could be Bloodshot's Christmas. I'm buying a Bloodshot book. Whenever it's out, that I will get that. I don't care if I've got $6 to get me through the week. 4 of those is going to go to Bloodshot. I think that's just because I love the character and I want to be involved in that. Of course, The Walking Dead, we've already discussed that. I will ride that out to the end. I don't think it'll ever die out. I think they'll get 500-600 issues out of that whole thing, and I'll probably on my deathbed. Wait, hold on. Give me that Walking Dead book. I haven't read that one yet. And then that was the toughest things. I couldn't fill in a 3rd one yet. I've really only been reading comics for 2-3 years. I guess it's getting 3 years. And while I like a lot of books, to say that the 3 books that I would only read for the rest of my life, I guess I have to leave that one open just right now. There's some good ones, but I haven't found anything that says, yes, this is the book I'm reading for the rest of my life.
Well, and being such a diehard Valiant fan, it's tough to pick an ongoing.
Well, and that's what I said for me.
Minis.
It could be ongoing Bloodshot. It could be Bloodshot's Christmas and the silly backwards Blood Squirt. I'm checking all those out.
Now, have you gone and read all the old school Bloodshots too?
90s Valiant for me was just it turned me off. I have tried and tried to read those books, and I think I've made it through the first 5 books of Bloodshot, and I just can't do it. I fall asleep every time. I don't know what it is. It just doesn't grab me. I'm odd like that, I guess.
No, I don't. No, I completely agree. I was reading them at the time, and they were cool. He didn't stick with me from back then. My big ones back then were Solar and Archer and Armstrong. I really liked Archer and Armstrong. A lot of the philosophical stuff they talked about, as well as Barry Windsor Smith art. I mean, that alone was worth it. But yeah, Bloodshot was kind of like, oh, that's their Rambo. That's kind of just how I felt. Like, whatever. He's their gun guy, whatever. And then I was even hesitant to read New Valiant's Bloodshot because that's how I felt about him. And then I was like, oh, no. New Valiant is doing something different here. Okay.
I will tell you this. If I could get my hands on the acclaimed Bloodshot series, I would read that in a heartbeat. It would probably keep my interest. Sure, it's way over the top and almost to the point of goofiness, but I've heard good things about that run. So,
if you're a collector, you should be getting the Chainsaw arc.
I already have that. Yeah.
Okay, per Dinesh. So if that doesn't kind of connect you with some
in duplicate.
Yes, so that's good. Yeah, I what's funny is I haven't even answered this question myself too, because it's impossibly hard. I've answered it multiple different ways in my head. Like it's like I can make up whatever book I want because this is a what if question. And so I would like a Martian Manhunter ongoing that I read because he's one of my favorite characters. And then I would think an Archer and Armstrong because I love the characters. And then a Lemire book. Just any Lemire book. Probably Gideon Falls right now. So
I didn't know we had open rules. I thought
dude, it's wide open. It's a what if game. Come on.
They were like scanning the mental racks of the comic shop in my head. I'm like, I didn't know I could burst out and like make up stuff.
Yeah, but I mean, but if it is like I say, if it is that ongoing right now, books that keep coming, I would probably go with, Gideon Falls would be one of them for me. I would go right now currently with Ninja K.
Good.
That's been phenomenal ongoing right now. And from there, I was getting Grass Kings every issue with Kent. But after issue number 1 of Black Badge, I'll move it to Black Badge. So,
who's Black Badge?
That's Matt Kent and Tyler Jenkins and Hillary Jenkins. Pretty cool. Another Boom title. If you haven't, number 1 was a week ago.
Yeah,
it's been pretty stellar. It's a cool concept. So, yeah, and if it's anything like Grass Kings, or even if it's totally different, those creators, I know they're going to put something out that's going to be worthwhile to read every time. So
yeah, Matt's always good. I didn't know he had another project coming out. I'm behind. Jeez.
And then not to mention his Mind Management. Did you see his Mind Management Kickstarter project?
Hell yeah. No, that's a book that a lot of my friends that don't really read a lot of comics, they love Mind Management.
Yeah.
They borrow it. They've loaned it out to each other. They've gotten into it, bought it themselves. I'm hoping it leads to them buying, hardcovers of Divinity, but, hey.
Hey, it's where it starts, too. You get to learn, and that's where a lot of it, you get to, starting a writer, and then you go from there.
Mm-hmm. And
here's one to throw out.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, no. I'm sorry. Keep going.
Oh, I was just gonna say if we're making up one, I want to see Dick Grayson as Batman ongoing.
Ooh,
that's what I want.
That's good. That's really good. Although I feel like I like him more as Nightwing. I don't know, but Dick with Damian as Robin, that would be fun. It'd be fun.
Could be. Anyways.
Yeah.
My thoughts.
Maybe you can get a guy that's over there with DC now, Brian Michael Bendis, to write that as he's starting the Jinx World. I don't know if you guys have looked into this one very much, but Jinx World, Brian Michael Bendis, new little world starting off with Pearl to this week. From Jessica Jones.
Yep. I've got this one locked down already, a B cover and that blank variant as well. I'm excited to get my hands and just dig into it. I'd like to see what this is all about. I'm curious.
Are they?
Yeah, I think.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I think he's got 4 books in the works that's going to be coming out with it. So this is the first one of it. I know it's quite a bit more is coming with his Jinx World kind of imprint connected with it. And I guess switch from Marvel over to DC to allow for this space.
Wasn't Jinx World actually even one of the titles of his, one of his early series? Not just the imprint, but...
Yeah, I believe it's a lot more like Miller World. Kind of like that type of connection where it's been something that's been kind of ongoing for a little bit. I'm not sure if this is going to be a lot of crossover world building at all, more of like a Black Hammer universe type that Lemire's trying to do, or if this is just going to be kind of like his small little imprint connected with it. So,
yeah, I hadn't heard anything about that. The Gatos art looks beautiful in those promo pieces.
Oh, most definitely. And this one's said to be like a connection with a tattoo artist, and that her connection with the Japanese mob, I believe.
Yeah, the oh goodness gracious! Now I just completely lost it.
The Yakuza.
Yakuza. Yeah.
Yes. Yep. With the Yakuza. And then kind of on the sake of moving on for new comic books, let's talk about some new comic books coming up. One that I had is I know there's some Star Wars fans out there, and this is Beckett. You get to learn a little bit about the guy who taught Han Solo how to be Han Solo. So if that isn't just a concept alone cool enough to get into, I'm not sure why you're watching the show, but all the way together, I'm in for that. So
yeah, I saw it, and I was very curious about it. I think it may be one of those that I'll wait and see what you say. We'll talk offline about it. This might be a Thursday pickup as I go back and pick up something that I may want to read.
Yeah, something like a recommendation that's happened for you. And then, and I know you had this next one that I popped up already, Moose. There we go.
Yeah, this one's curious. It's Marvel. It's a #1. So I'm kind of curious to see what it's about, and we'll see. I think it looks interesting. Of course, it's Marvel, so you're going to get a ton of different variants, but we shall see.
Just recent with the variants, but you're getting a really cool of the original X-Men here, and where X-Men is going to be moving going forward. They're going to have a weekly Marvel series for 10 straight weeks, X-Men book. And I know like Matt Rosenberg is one of the guys that's writing it. There's 2 other writers connected to it. And this is supposed like the extermination necessarily of like some of your original X-Men, and who knows where it's going to happen. But with this new upcoming X-Men, it might be interesting to get into. I don't know about a weekly book, but 10 straight weeks of weekly comics is fun, but also like your pocketbook kind of starts crying.
Yeah, that's a stretch. That's a hardy stretch on the pocketbook.
Well, and that's
and Ryan,
what's up?
Go ahead.
I was gonna say that stuff all turns out too that like partway through the series you've got 10 colorists and 8 inkers and all this stuff just so they can get that weekly out, and you're like, come on, we all could have waited another month. So we all could wait for it to be a little more put together, you guys.
And I think that's why they're getting like 3 different creative teams on it, to kind of go that route. But I mean, hopefully the editors are going to be working extra hard to get 3 different creative teams to have a cohesive story together. So, but maybe it's already been done, and now they're just at the point where they're releasing it as something too. So
that would be smart. That would be smart.
That's like die smart.
Yeah. And then I talked about this guy really briefly earlier, is Mark Miller in the Magic Order #3. And every report about this book that's came out so far has been positive. What is going to happen with Netflix owning this? Is it going to be a series? I guess that's yet to be seen with this. And but I mean, if Mark Miller is on it, it's going to be a solid story. And then actually there was recent news about one of his upcoming ones, Prodigy, teaming up with Raphael Albuquerque, and another Netflix tie-in with this that's being distributed by Image. So yeah, Mark Miller putting out lots of new stuff. And yeah, so yeah, Mark Miller title.
And you're saying those 2 titles will merge together some way, shape, or form?
No idea at all. I know, or actually, I don't think so. The Magic Order is only like a 6-part book, so it's only halfway there. So that should be up in the near future. So
both those look great. The creative teams look awesome. I'm trade waiting Magic Order. Mm-hmm. I knew it's gonna sell well. They're gonna be fine without me on the single issues. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna trade wait on that for sure. But I'm looking forward to it. I love Olivier's artwork. He's just fantastic.
And this is one of those ones where I bought 2 of the first.
It's probably one I'll regret not having in issues, but I've been buying so many other single issues lately that I was like, you know what, Mark's fine. I'm gonna buy some. I'm gonna spend my dollars over here this summer. But there's very few titles he's read that I didn't like. Even stuff that people thought was like blah or bland. I at least was like, no, I was entertained. Like, at the worst, I've been entertained by everything he had. And at best, I freaking love so much of it.
Yeah, I know, like, when, like, Hit Girl, like, that was one where I was like, oh, really? And then I got into it, and I was like, oh, my God, I actually really like this.
Okay, I didn't read the new Hit Girl.
Oh, the Lemire, the first Lemire is great.
Okay. Yeah, I haven't read, yeah, no, I'm way behind. Yeah. I spent all my money on BPRD books, too.
And then Moosey said you had another one here. Go for it.
Yeah. And I like that middle cover. That's kind of cool. Looks a little Tron and 8-bit or 16-bit video game like. Very cool. Analog has been a fun ride. I like the idea behind all the secrets of the internet are now out in the open. And you can see there on the far left-hand side, he's carrying a briefcase. He has to smuggle secrets. It's building. It introduced a character. It's starting to really get moving. And yeah, I'm really enjoying this Image book. It's a lot of fun. It kind of reminds me a bit of like an old Spy versus Spy, or oh goodness gracious, Dick
Tracy.
Dick Tracy. Thank you. It very much reminds me of a Dick Tracy book, or what I would imagine. I remember seeing some old Dick Tracy shows. It's a little like that, where he's just a hair smarter than everybody else around him. And yeah, I kind of like that. It's fun. It's a fun read.
Those covers look rad.
Jerry Dugan's work too as a writer. I think he's done some really cool stories. And then O'Sullivan's art, yeah. And then Spicer's on colors for a lot of things. So,
yeah,
and then Ryan, go for it.
I was saying Spicer's all over the place.
Oh yeah, he's doing so many people's color work, and hey, there's a reason for it too, right? So, so it's gonna be, you're gonna see his work. And then I had another one here for us, and then Ryan, if there's also books that you please jump in here. But I have one that I've enjoyed, and again, Jeff Lemire title, one of my 3 of my ones I get to keep reading, and it's Gideon Falls, and great work of Andrea Sorrentino, with Dave Stewart doing colors, another color artist that we see do a lot of colors. And this is the end of the first arc, the Black Barn, Red Barn, and this horror book has been phenomenal. Set with Dinesh's new multi Hive Mind Studios to make a TV show out of it. So I think that's kind of one of the phenomenal things that's coming out in the orders that's coming. So Gideon Falls number 6, closing out the first arc.
I have been so loving this book, and it was one of the first books when I went and I got my stack and I came home. I cracked it open and read it real fast, and then put it away. And then, of course, you're going through your devouring, and had forgotten that I had read it. So I'm like, oh, because usually what happens is I read it and then I seal it because I get resealables. And so I read it and then set it aside, just trying to devour each and every book real quick. And so 2 days, maybe it was, 2 days ago, I'm like, oh, I haven't read this. Why haven't I read this? I pick it up. I'm like, wait, no, I have. Maybe I read half of it. That's what it was. And I'm going through and I just read everything. And everything was just like reverberating. It just sucked me back into it. And I was just, man, eating it like a fat kid will eat some cake. Like me yesterday eating a bunch of cake. Man, I devoured that book, and I can see those images that they have portrayed on a TV show, and it's going to be spooky. It's going to be scary. It's going to be great.
Yep, doing that like Big Al hits dingers, man. That's the way you got to do it. So Big Al hits some dingers. And then another one I know both of us have enjoyed, Chris. I know you were calling this one out too, right here.
Yeah, this is a lot of fun, and it's taking a twist. And I think that's what makes this such a fun book, is that you don't expect the twist that it takes. You kind of get into it, and it kind of takes you a certain way, and all of a sudden, hey, there's a waterfall. Bam! And Now you're flying, a million miles an hour, trying to understand and soak up everything that was around it. You almost have to go back a page and say, did I miss something? Where did that first chart coming in? And yeah, it's a good book. I like the direction that they're going with this.
Yeah, we've got all the issues. It's the way we do it here, my nephew and I, some books we get, like, I'll get a certain title and he'll also get it. But then once we get past our main titles, we kind of like share stuff. And he came to me with this. And I'm a big fan of Nathan Fox. So I would have found it eventually. But he came to me, 13 years old. He's like, hey, can we put this on our list? And I was like, of course we can put this on our list. Like, I get to read it first, though. I'm like, all right, good, that's fine. That's yours, bro. So that one, I'm not trade waiting, but I'm gonna get all the issues when he's done reading them. He's loving rereading them too. So I haven't grabbed them from him yet.
That one's awesome, and I always tell people that are getting into this one, shoot me a message after you read the end of number 1. I want to know what your thoughts are. Because there's parts of that it'll warrant some attention. So
is it all right? I let my 13-year-old nephew read it.
Oh no, it's perfectly fine. But it's like I told Jody, I was like, this makes me want to just punch you in the face. I hate you for that. And yeah, and they dig it. That creative team's pretty awesome. Again, Dave Stewart colors. His colors are so bright and vibrant on that issue. He's so that's I guess it reminds me a lot of David being able to adapt his colors a lot because he's so bright and vibrant in this. And then you look at the last book we just showed was Gideon Falls, and it's that dark noir look to it that he's able to translate so well with the setting. And I appreciate that when a color artist, you could do 2 different books and not even know it's really the same person is amazing. Like, you're doing your job well.
That's how he does on all the BPRD books, from book to book, artist to artist. He colors it all, and not only does it look like the same universe, but it still looks like you wouldn't necessarily know it's the same colorist. Somehow he manages all of that.
Yeah, I dig that. I mean, and then there's some artists or some colorists that it's them, but it's not a bad thing because what they do well, they do really well. But Dave is like you said, it's amazing. Here's one that we reviewed early that's coming out this week, and it's Christopher Sabella's Crowded, mixed with Rose Stein, Ted Brent, Tiano Farrell, and Cardinal Ray. I dig the concept of this story. It's a number 1 issue, but it's not too distant future. I think Christopher says it's in 20 minutes in the future, where everything is crowdfunded and there is a crowdfunding source to put hits on somebody. So you could have some people get assassinated through crowdfunding source. And it's about one character who has $1 million crowdfunding source for her, and what's up with her and her crowdfunded bodyguard that's there to protect her. So cool concept. It's already been signed for a studio, and it is connected with Rebel Wilson to be one of the main characters already. So lots of news for a book that hasn't even came out yet. So
it better be good.
Right. And I think Ryan, do you want to talk about the Valiant book that you're going to be pulling tomorrow?
Yeah, I'm pretty excited about this. It's not only fun to be back doing something with Valiant, which I thought I was I don't know, after Eternity I thought I'd moved on, so it was kind of cool to be asked to do this one shot. Not only because it's Ninja K, but Christos Gage is a great writer. Andrew Dahlhaus, I think of him as the Ninja colorist. That's just, he's done so much with the character that I think of it as his character. And then bringing on Larry Stroman, which, Chris, if you didn't grow up reading the old Marvel stuff, Larry was like a huge influence in the 80s and 90s. My favorite artist as a kid, he was doing this book called Alien Legion, which was done by the Epic line by Marvel, which was sort of like the first sort of indie, edgy, cool stuff I was reading as a kid. That was probably for a couple years older than me, but I was getting my hands on it. And then Larry went on to do X-Force and stuff like that. So he's done a lot of indie stuff in the last few years, but hasn't really done a lot of mainstream stuff. And they decided to bring him in for an issue, and it was so fun and it was so interesting getting to see his take on Ninjak, and then his version of Ninja H as well, which we've been jokingly calling like Ninja. Like we thought he should be like, "Hey man, Ninja." Like sounded like that should be like the South Caribbean version of one of their ninjas, but
yeah, man.
But Ninja H, who, gosh, it seems I haven't actually read the whole issue yet. I haven't gotten my comps yet, so but the storytelling and the script, I'm like, oh man, this guy, jeez, like all these guys have had rough lives, but jeez, sad.
Oh, and then just this cover you guys did, the B cover, that's the purple one, second on the left there. Like, that is a phenomenal cover, the two that you and Larry did there. And just, man, just the line works on the rocks, just all of it, man. Like, that's my favorite one of this covers. And that's not just because you're right here on the show. That is a cool concept of how Colin King looks right there.
Yeah, and see, that's the magic of someone like Larry. You're like, have the character jumping on some rocks with some clouds in the background. Like, that doesn't even sound that interesting. You know, it's just like, but, you know, you give them the right pose, you give them the right attitude, you give the right texture to things, and then you bring in an awesome colorist to bring it all home. And, yeah, nice, simple cover. It reminds me of something. That's the way Warren Simons liked his covers. He likes his covers. He likes people to go, wow, at a simple cover.
Right. And that's him and I had that conversation actually at Emerald City like 2-3 weeks before he left. And he was talking about, what is it, Tonsi Zonic's covers.
Yes.
And like his simplification of covers. And he's done so much of he did a lot of this last arc as well of Ninja K. And it was just like, look at this. There's only 4 colors here, but the way he's laid it out, like he loved it. So, and I think they're awesome when they're like that as well. Not too busy.
Yeah, the couple times he commissioned me to do covers, they didn't make it to print, but we did finalize them. He chose the simpler ideas. Like I had one cover idea for Divinity 2, I think it was Divinity 3. Yeah, it was for Stalinverse. It had Bloodshot getting cut in half by Ninjak on a pile of other Bloodshots. It's just huge pile. And, you know, that classic kind of A-frame composition for a comic book. And I was like, this is what he's going to choose. Oh, it's going to take so much energy, but like, whatever, I'll get it done. And then he was like, no, I take this other one where like, I just had Ninjak sliding past and cutting Bloodshot in half. Took me a few hours to draw and stuff. And he was like, no, I want the simple. I want the simple one. I was like, oh, okay. All right. But yeah, that's what he likes. Very clean, very simple. So that cover, it reminded me of like something he would have chose. Yeah. Sounds like we're talking about a dead man too.
No, he's still alive and well, and hopefully we get to see him doing something soon. So very soon. And any other books that you are pulling or that you know of that you're pulling this week, Ryan?
No, I never actually. That's one of the things I don't like to look at the release dates on books. A lot of times, sometimes, you know, if I'm working on it, I can't help it. But I kind of go in blind each week, and I'm like, oh, cool, this came out. You know, I think of it I work it that way. So yeah, I don't actually know. I usually know now. I know. I have a bunch of alternate titles to pick up. I've got I think it's been a few weeks since I went. So I've got a Ninja K issue I know I need to pick up that I'm behind. That I'm actually 4 issues behind reading. I've got all the issues. Oh no, my for some reason I'm losing power even though I'm plugged in. Anyways, I'm gonna push through. So yeah, I don't know what else I'm picking up. What else I'm picking up tomorrow?
That's actually kind of an exciting thing. If it wasn't for the show, I might do that as well. But you viewers don't do that. Come here and get your news here.
And I'm doing a signing tomorrow at Brave New World. If we've got anyone in the LA area, I'll be signing Andy Legal's shop, Brave New World. Oh God, I forget the name of the city it's in. But if you're in LA, just Google it, or you already know about it.
Yeah.
But come on by. I'll be there from 2 p.m. to 7 p.m. It's a great shop. It is a fantastic shop set in like this little like Nantucket style shopping center in the middle of California. Like it's totally like it looks like it's from somewhere on the East Coast. It's this great little shopping center. Great little 2-story shop. Come on in and see us. We'll have a lot of fun.
Santa Clarita.
There it is, Santa Clarita.
Every time I hear that name of it and like seeing Andy and Brave New World, I always think of Santa Carla from the Lost Boys.
Okay.
It's like, watch your vampires in Santa Carlita.
Yeah, our whole coast is everything Santa something. So,
yeah.
Yeah, so.
And that's awesome. And I remember seeing a tweet recently saying that there was going to be something said at WhoDooTV, and kind of curious of what that might be.
You know, I almost forgot. I was like, all right, we had a good talk. Probably my template, my tablet's about to die. All right, we'll see, whatever. So before that, any of that happens. So yeah, this is my first time getting to say this to anyone in public. So let's see, how do I even start? I have a series coming out. It's not coming out till September 2019. So this is the opposite of Die announcing it. But we're going to keep it quiet for a little while after this. So I'm writing a series that Dean Kotz is drawing, and it's going to be published by Alterna Comics on newsprint, and it's called Gods and Gears. And that's gods like gods and gears like machines and gears.
Gods and Gears, okay.
So, and it's an adventure story. It's a tale of two boys traveling through South America on their way to find the truth behind magic and technology that was left behind by aliens millions of years ago. And,
oh man!
So it's sort of a coming of age, call to adventure story.
That's awesome. How long has this been in the works?
Well, actually, it's been in the works for a few years. In that, if you had read my series Deathbeddy, you saw me advertising a series called Driver and Shotgun. Mm-hmm. And in the last month, Driver and Shotgun has switched to become Gods and Gears, and we're gonna wait and be published by Alterna instead of me publishing it myself through Novelty. Nice. So the book was coming along great, and I saw that Peter had some slots open on Alterna's schedule next year. So I said, "Hey, what do you think of this?" And he was like, "This is what we like. This is the kind of stuff we're looking for." So, yeah, he picked us up. We signed and everything. It's a great deal. And if you guys aren't following Dean Kotz, DeanKotz, he's at Dean Kotz. There he is. He is just a fantastic illustrator, a really great guy. We've been wanting to work together for a decade. So this is the culmination of two guys that kind of like, we found each other a long time ago on DeviantArt, and we've been wanting to work together since, and now we're getting our chance.
Dude, that is awesome news. Congratulations on that.
Thanks.
We'll keep it quiet for a while and then blow it up, a month, before cutoff happens. But that's awesome, man. So that's really cool news. And on Alterna that we were just talking about, that's
right.
And that's not why we're talking about it.
No, that's not why we're talking about it. And you can even check my timeline. I have been pimping Alterna for so long now with their newsprint. It had nothing to do with me having a deal. That was in the last month. So me pushing Alterna stuff, that's all genuine. That's from the heart, and I love it as a reader, not even as a creator, but as a reader. I've had such a great experience and got so many books from $1.
Yeah, and honestly, when you started doing that is when I first checked them out. The Righteous and Wicked and Righteous. That's what Righteous, and that was. I'm like, why not roll the dice on this? Let's see what this is all about. And yeah, darn good story. And like you said, like I said, for $1.50.
Oh, and you know what? Okay, so we're here I go. I always pimp other people's work better than my own. So Terry Mayo, and I'm forgetting the artist on the Wicked Righteous now, but that whole creative team, they're doing a book with another publisher. And if you look up Terry Mayo, he'll have it. I'm sure he has it pinned or something. But it's called Disposable Legends, and it's basically like Edgar Allan Poe fights like Genghis Khan to the death. Like it's these like different. Though that's a horrible matching on my end, but it's these different characters through history that come together to battle, and it looks like a lot of fun. It's the same creative team as the Wicked Righteous, but at a different publisher.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, Genghis Khan would destroy Edgar Allan Poe, and there's no chance. That was a horrible pairing on my end.
That's awesome. But yeah, man, this has been a good show. I've appreciated you jumping on today, Ryan. Happy for the next Ninja K coming out tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm so excited to read it.
Yeah, and then the success with Red Hood with you and Trevor on Red Hood and the Outlaws. So, and then I believe there's another issue of Death Betty coming soon.
Yeah, now it's just on me. I got behind on my other projects, and I'm wrapping up the last. I think I got 5 pages left to ink. They're all penciled. Inked one of them today, so I only got 4 more to do. And then we're going to get those colored up, and then in the next month or so, we'll have the next issue out. And then later in the year, we're going to be publishing those on newsprint as well. And we're going to have the physical copies available.
Oh, really? Nice.
So, yeah. So, because I have a lot of friends and readers and followers that they don't do digital at all. They don't. Yeah. So, and I don't have a problem with that, but it's, you know, I want to get my book out to everybody. So it's been fun to get it out digitally. I got some feedback. I know some changes I actually want to make before we do digital or go to publish and stuff. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that too.
I believe $1 on Comixology right now?
Yeah, right now Death Betty, 99 cents on Comixology. They're short stories about a girl who used to date Death, and now that she's been dumped by him, she's vowed to ruin his life and the thing he holds most dear, which is his job. So she's basically halting him from carrying people off to the Netherlands, and that ruins his day, and she has a lot of fun with that. Sort of an anti-hero comedy action book. 99 cents.
Yeah, great title to get, guys. If you guys haven't gotten into that, it's a good read. So you'll want to take a look at that. Yeah, and then also make sure you guys are following Ryan on his good old Twitter and anywhere else that people should be following you on the World Wide Web, Ryan.
Yeah, I post my videos on YouTube. It's Ryan Winn on YouTube. I am Ryan Winn on DeviantArt. That's where I post high-res versions of my artwork and my pages. And then I advertise it and do contests on Twitter. I'm at Ryan Winn. And we do, lately we've been doing a thing called Comment to Win. Instead of WIN, it's a play on my name, WINN. And I had everyone comment what the character, what do you say? Caption the cover, sort of, and then I do a raffle to see who won. Yeah.
What was the caption that won this time?
Oh, I don't remember. I should have that stuff pulled up. Because the caption itself didn't win. I just did a raffle. I wanted it. Whoever made it got entered in the raffle. I figured that was the safe way to go. And that way I didn't have people saying like, no, this was funny, or you just chose a friend or anything like that. I just figured, let's do the raffle. But it was a lot of fun reading everyone's captions. I even put them all in the video so people can see them. And so I want to do, I'm probably going to do another one tomorrow for Ninja K.
Nice.
What I'd like to do is eventually get the companies, DC sends them a week ahead of time. Valiant, I usually get them all the day. I want to start getting them all ahead of time, and then I can try to get it to the person the day it comes out. That's what I want to do. That's the goal, is to have it signed so you get the signed issue on the release day.
Oh, that's awesome.
That'd be fun. That'd be great.
What I want to do. So moving forward, I'm going to try to push to make that happen. So.
I did quite appreciate my own caption on that one. So
what was your yours was
I had Jason because the picture is Jason Todd like with having Batman like kind of like in his face, and I said, if you say Batman, what I am Batman one more time, and then this is something that is amazingly awesome that I'm excited to be coming up and put back on one of the walls back here. Is this sketch cover that somebody recently did. So thank you for that. I'm excited to see this thing.
I'm sorry
in person.
So long.
No sorries needed, man. So good work takes time.
Thank you so much. I'm glad you like it. I'm really honored it's going to be up there, man. That's really cool. You got a lot of good stuff up there.
Yeah, we'll put it up here. Be right behind us, and we'll get that. So again, guys, and anybody have any final words? No final words. Okay. But I want to say thanks everybody for jumping on. We've had a lot of people jump on and be active in the chat. Matt Campbell just jumped on, first time viewer. Thanks for jumping on.
Wow.
And then we also got Not My Name, Anthony, Alternate Comics, and some people that have come in and out. Thanks for talking in the chat. We want to know what you guys are reading, so put that in the comments down below. Some of the best recommendations are coming from you guys. So subscribe, like. If you don't like it, subscribe and like. But we appreciate it. And thanks, everybody.